people whisper about this, so I'm just going to ask you, do you have anything to do with steroids and heart attack? Okay.
I had to say, I contributed to Top Ramen, prison food.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
'Cause you're
11 years of
eating
the worst, probably plastic.
Yeah.
You know how I got famous? YouTube posted that documentary on the front page. I didn't tell them to do that. I didn't ask them. I didn't pay them to do it. They did that.
Did you bring me cookies?
So, yep.
Oh, and the
gum?
we
got you some gum, work gum.
So, he started chewing on one of these. I think it was like halfway.
When we was in the podcast, he had started.
And he got like energy. Like everybody was talking about it afterwards.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's a little caffeine in it. Then we have 50 mgs. Then we have my book that me and him wrote, How to Get Rich and Famous on Social Media, my autobiography.
Right on. Thank you
so much. Then you got some cookies here.
Check it out. Thank you.
Crackies cookies. Yeah.
Very cool. Thank you.
Ooh,
Here we go.
Got it hooked up.
Yep.
Damn.
Yeah. So I designed this. This was my vision. Here we go. First podcast.
First one, man.
Cali Muscle in the house.
Got Cali Muscle. I'm not that big yet. I'm just now.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
So thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here. It means so much to me that you came on, especially for my first show.
Well, that's huge. It was meant to be. Even the outfit. See the outfit match. I didn't. Let me look in the camera. I didn't know this was going to look like this to wear this.
It was meant to be.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, honestly, like, I look at you and I aspire to be like you in a lot of ways.
Wow.
I watch people online, on social media, what they've done, and you're like at the top of the game when it comes to all of that.
Well,
I feel like it.
Yeah, so my thing is, even for me to this day, I don't feel I'm as big as I should be. Especially with the content that me and this guy, Miles, put out, the quality, the fun skits and pranks, and I just never was, the thing is, people see these videos I have 20 million and all that. It took years to build up to that. I never just had, so in my 15 years, I'm going to tell you, on my channel, Cali Muscle YouTube, I had about, in 15 years, 3 videos maybe that just blew up. Like just in a couple of days it had 1 million or something like that.
Wow.
In 15 years.
Okay.
So my channel has been a grower. Like, and I put out so much content, especially the last 2 years. I was putting out daily content on YouTube and Facebook for like 3 to 4 videos a day. But I still don't feel, and I'm grateful that they didn't let me blow up, then snatch everything back. Like that's why I still just work so hard.
Yeah.
Because I'm not where I should be in my eyes.
Like big goals.
Yeah.
You got big goals.
Yeah.
But I think that's so important for people to hear that it like takes time.
Yeah.
And everybody has to start somewhere.
Exactly.
Like here I am starting this podcast and it's terrifying, but what's the alternative?
Right, exactly.
You don't try, and then you just live with regrets and what ifs.
Exactly.
It's like you gotta just get up and do it every day and have that mindset.
Yeah. Fortunately for me, I was raised in a house of hard workers. My mother, a nurse, she worked 16 hours a day. My stepfather, he had his own business and retired from Gerber's. So I used to see stacks of money. We had Cadillac. We had, at the minimum, me growing up as a kid, 3 to 4 cars.
Oh, wow.
Minimum. I'm talking Cadillacs, Benzes, had the nicest house in the neighborhood. So I grew up my mother, we had to iron our clothes and look good when we left the house. So I just came up under a household that was about prospering, money and looking good, and so that just followed me through my life. That's why I just look back like, man, parents are everything.
Yeah, they are.
You know what I mean? However your parents treat you and what you see from them will carry on through your life. And that ultimately was the downfall of me as well, my mother. She showed me how to live as a hustler, but she worked, like I said, as a nurse, and she like didn't like taking days off. Like she had to work, and so that just got into me as a kid. And but we also had an incident, and it's in my book as well, where my little brother lied on me and said I did some like I touched him, right? And so my mother came home. What's wrong with you? And he was a habitual liar. At this time, he was about 5, maybe 5. I was about, and I'm 6, 7 years older than him, about 11. Mm-hmm. And my mom came home because I had to babysit him, and which I hated. I hated him. Me and I had an older brother, and I talk about him because it's a real crucial point in my life. So I had an older brother, 4 years older than me. His name was Archie, and my mom Regina, my pop's name Wallace, which my stepfather was with my mother since I was 2. My real father, for anybody that know about the Jonestown story, don't drink the Kool-Aid. Jim Jones.
Yeah.
So my real biological father is a survivor.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And
that's
so,
intense.
Yeah. So he's a survivor. He tried to get my mother to go, but she's a tough woman. She's like, I'm not going over there to no. Where did they go? What was it? Costa Rica, somewhere.
Wow.
And so my mom was like, I'm not going over there. So he had another wife. Evidently, he was in polygamy or something. Had another wife and kids, and took them, and they died over there. They drank the Kool-Aid. But so I had my stepfather. Mm-hmm. And that's the one that had his own auto body shop, retired from Gerber's, just come home with stay with a wad of money in his pocket. So it was us 4. Then my little brother came. Mm-hmm. Me and my older brother hated him. It was like a devil was born. He just came, and the dynamic of our family just changed. And so when I was about 11, which I had to babysit him, and I hated it because I wanted to play sports and do things that kids did. And one day he lied. My mother came home from work. She always come in there, you okay? Because my birth name is Chuck. And I changed it to Kali, which is not California. It means it's a Swahili name.
Okay,
everybody think my name is California, but no.
Okay.
So she came home. Did Chuck do anything to you? Every day she would come home and ask that, and he was like, "Yeah, he touched me on my leg or whatever." And so my mother automatically, I don't know what trauma she had in her life or whatever from the past. Where at? On your leg, right here, Mom. And he pointed at his inner thigh, and she just turned into a demon. I seen it in her eyes, right? She went and got her 38, and I ran in my room. I was sitting on my bed, and she just came out. All I seen was a demon. She came in there, drew down on me with the 38. I was only 11, and I'm getting goosebumps talking about it. And she drew down on me, and I tuck and rolled under the bunk, under my bed, and the phone rang. It was God. She was gonna squeeze. She was like, at
11.
Yeah, and so the phone rang, saved my life. So when that phone rang, I ran out the front door, and our house had bars all the way around it. So I was praying that the bar was unlocked on the front door. Cause we lived in a violent area, but
where did you go?
In Oakland, East Oakland, okay. Yeah. And so the bar was unlocked, so I was just in some Speedos with no shoes, nothing, running down the street. Wow. In the middle of the street. So I ran to a friend's house and told him and his mother what happened. And his mother like, son, I gotta tell your mother where you at, And she called my mom, and she took me back and beat me. And after that, so it's funny because I understand how kids want to kill their parents. Like when I see kids that kill out their parents in the house, everybody. Like, I used to have those thoughts. Like, I'm going to just smoke everybody in the house when I get a little older.
Yeah. I can't imagine what that must have felt like. And I'm sure that kind of shifted your mentality at that age.
So, right then and there, I said, I never let nobody pull a gun on me first.
So you got tough real quick.
Oh, that went on my whole life after that. So, yeah, so after that, I went back home. At this point, it got into my mind of running away when stuff not going right or I got too scared. And so I came back home. I was going to school, but at this point, I was kind of, this when the rebellious me kicked in because of that fear of being in that house. And she would still like come in. I don't know if she got or something as a kid or
something triggered it.
Right,
yeah.
but so I'd be asleep at night. And I was a kid that had my hands in my pants because to warm my hands or whatever habit. I don't know why I used to do it, but I used to have my hands in my pants, sleep. She'd just come 2, 3 in the morning, rip the covers back, get your damn hands out your pants, and be whooping me with a switch and belt and some weird stuff. I don't know, to this day I don't know why that was. So I was like, man, I'm gonna kill everybody in this house one day. At that point, it was me against the whole house. Even though I love my older brother was still there, but he was 4 years older, so that was a huge age gap at that time.
And did he just kind of stay out of it? I mean, was he getting the same thing with your mom, or?
So yeah, I didn't know she used to beat him, and I'll never forget. But I get into that. But at this point, I ran away again. I was in junior high and ran away, and I went to a distant cousin house of mine. I was gone for a month. But it was not far from my mom's house. But I was still going to school and all this. So one day, my favorite aunt saw me, and she picked me up, and she called my mom like, I got Chuck, you know what I mean? I got Khalid. And so she went off on her thinking she had me that whole month. So their relationship it was like kind of over with at that point. So my mom called the police, and the police came pick me up, and I went to a group home. So at this point, I went kind of dark, like F everybody, this family, her. So we had to go to counseling, and then that's when I say I became a man. I stood up in her face, you, and just went off on her.
Yeah.
Crying and, going off. And right then she became fearful of me. Because she probably saw in my eyes like, you know what I mean? Like it could go down.
Yeah.
And so from then on, my life changed. Everybody got kind of scared of me.
And did you like it at the
Yeah,
time?
without
I can
a
imagine
doubt.
you're like a,
Without a doubt, because I didn't have to babysit him no more. So at that point, I had just entered high school. I was entering high school. So my 9th grade year, I got on the football team, whatnot. They didn't let me play because I was so small. I was only like 90 pounds. And so, but I was able to be on the team, get into sports. I didn't even talk. So I worked from the age of 12 until I end up going to college. So I would go to school, go to practice, go to work from 9th grade on. Excuse me. So I wouldn't even talk to nobody in the house. It was like from my 9th grade year to 12th, I was on my own, basically.
Yeah.
I just came home, slept, woke up earlier than everybody got dressed, left. So I was in high school, Castlemont High School in Oakland, worst school in Oakland. I played football, wrestling, track. And I was already popular because my older brother went there, and he was the valedictorian, president of the school, genius. My brother Archie was a genius, man. And so all through my high school years, going good. I'm in newspapers. My GPA was 3.83. I was I was excelling. So my senior year, I was a senior class president. I was a celebrity. growing up. And so my senior year, this January, my mom get worried. She's like, I haven't heard from your older brother. He was going to Cal Poly San Luis Obispo on a full electrical engineering scholarship. Mm-hmm. This guy was a genius. He was my guy. Dressed immaculate. I never saw him wear tennis shoes. Just immaculate. Just haircut perfect. Just a perfect man in my eyes. And I used to go visit him when he was in college, Cal Poly. So my mom one day, and this is my senior year, she get worried. Our relationship is a little better, but I still didn't like her, you know what I mean, for what she did to me as a kid. But I kind of put it in the back of my mind because she was a good provider. That's about it. She wasn't I love you. I never got I love yous, which I didn't get it anyway, so I never knew. And so my senior year, my mother would get worried. She mentioned to me, I haven't heard from your brother. Come to find out 30 years later, she knew exactly what was going on, but she was lying to me. So she was like, oh, I haven't heard from Archie, kind of worried. So she called him, she acted like she didn't know. So the next day, a day later, she called San Luis Obispo police and asked them to go check in the house, his house. And now I think about it, it was just weird. So evidently they went, knocked on the door, didn't hear nothing, they left. Another day go by. She called him again and said, please just kick down the door. And now I think about it, I'm getting goosebumps. She had to know what was going on.
Yeah.
So they kicked down the door, he and they're dead. So he killed himself. Wow,
I'm so sorry.
Wow. And so that just changed everything.
Yeah.
I went dark at that point because I was a youth pastor, and my faith just left. I'm like, why would God let my brother, the only person that I love in my life, kill himself?
Yeah.
And so I went dark. So in the midst of this, it was the year, it was in January. So I was in, football season was over, track season was in. So I went state and track and all that. And I was getting college offers from every college, like in the country. So I had boiled it down to, I'm going to go to Fresno State. And so I had a full academic and athletic scholarship. But at this point, I was just angry, mad. I took it out in the weight room. And all through this experience, I used to get migraines from the age of 15 to 31. But I'm talking to the point of like strokes.
Oh, wow.
And it always would come from me working out. Like feel like I have an allergy. You know how you can have an allergy if you have allergies?
Yeah.
Like it's in your head, but I would always just work out like crazy. Because that's how I would, I was going through that and on my way to play in the college. So I just was work out crazy. So I would get those migraines like maybe 2-3 times a week.
Wow.
And it was debilitating.
Yeah.
Like first my vision would go, then one side of my body would go numb where I couldn't talk. And so I worked during this time, I worked at 24-hour Knotless, the first 24-hour fitness ever in San Leandro, California. I worked there from 10th grade till I went to college. So when the migraine would come on, it always used to be like at the end of practice. And so I would be on my way to work, my vision would go blurry, I'm like, I'm about to get a migraine. So I would go in my office at work and take a nap for like 30 minutes. And it would kind of subside. First I would throw up every time, then I'd take a nap. Then it would kind of subside where I can function. And so that went on all my high school years. And so
how did you persevere through all of this? I mean, your story is pretty intense. Like,
must be the Cherokee blood. I'm 12%.
Right? Like motivating yourself through these experiences. You know?
It was just I tell people, it's just how you born. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
It's just who you are.
Yeah, and I look back as I am my mother. You know, I'm the same resilience she had as, you know, and it's crazy because it's the person I hated, literally. To this day, we don't talk or whatever, but, yeah, it's just something through the bloodline. I just believe everybody born how they gonna be born. Because I could have been, and I hate to say this because I hate people that commit like my brother and killed myself. Because I went through way more than all my siblings. And, but I was just born like this. You know what I mean? And to this day, I just can't comprehend how my brother, I mean, he was just strength. Like how we see all these people nowadays kill themselves, and people be like, I don't understand. They was happy. They was
right.
They on internet preaching, stay strong, and they like I don't get it to this day.
Yeah, I mean, was there any letter left or any information as to why? I mean,
no.
It seemed like from what you're saying, he had everything, like his whole life in front of him.
My mother knew.
She knew.
Oh yeah, she knew everything. But and the only reason I know she knew to this point, my ex-wife was real talkative and could, you know, talk you out of information. So she got the information from her about my brother and stuff like that I didn't even know. And my life would have been better if I would have knew he killed himself.
Yeah.
Because she made it like somebody could have did it.
Oh, wow.
Right. So it was always 50-50 with me.
Yeah.
She was like, nah, I don't think he killed himself. Somebody could have went in there and did it. But she knew because he called her crying, said he was going to kill herself. And I found out 30 years later. Yeah. So that changed my life. I went dark, just dived into working out. My plans was to go to the NFL.
Okay.
So I ended up going to Fresno. And I was just a mean guy. Far as I didn't talk. Cause what happened is I found out that by me not talking, I read a book. I think it was Art of War, Sun Tzu, that people feared silence. And so I read that and I became introverted. And I talked only when I had to.
Wow.
Well, and so it became powerful because people feared me. I was about the size I am now.
Okay.
In my senior year in high school, I was like the same size when I went to college. So I got to Fresno State, and I had a little girlfriend at the time. She was on the track team, and I was a worker. I'm talking workout crazy. That's all my life was, working out and eating and going to practice. And what happened was my roommate, he was already in the fraternity, Alpha Phi Alpha. I just talked to him too the other day. Shout out to you, Damon. And he got in a fight at a party. He was at the frat party. I wasn't in the fraternity yet. I was just scoping it out. He was showing me. So they always threw parties, the biggest parties, Alpha Phi Alpha at Fresno State. So he get in a fight with a guy. And at this point, anybody that got in my life was like my brother. Since I lost my brother, and I'm like that to this day, protective of whoever in my circle. And so he got in a fight, so I come in, I knock the guy out while they fight. I didn't know the guy was Fresno. He was a Crip, and he was from Fresno.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So after that happened, the guy was telling everybody on campus, telling the fraternity, tell the buff dude from Oakland, this is how he described it, to cancel Christmas.
Cancel Christmas. He was coming.
And so I had never heard that, right? So I'm scared to death. But so let me say this. All through my life, after my mother put a gun on me, I kept a gun on me from the age 12. So I was like, I'm just going to blow his brains out. I didn't have a gun at the time. So I asked around on Fresno State campus, who got guns to sell? Because I'm going to have to kill Carl Ray. His name was Carl Ray here. I'm going to kill Carl Ray. Right? So they directed me to this dorm room. It was this size, guns was all stacked up in the whole dorm.
In the dorm.
Yeah. It was unbelievable. And so they like, how much you got? I'm like, $150. They like, get your 380 over there. You be good with that. In boxes.
Wow.
Brand new guns, right?
It's like a movie.
Yeah. So I got the 380. When I got that gun, I just felt like God or the devil.
Off and running.
Yeah. And so I got that gun. I was like, yeah. I was looking for Carl right now. And he was a star of the basketball team at Fresno State. So, and his brother was on the football team, Lee Harris. So yeah, I was scared for my life. My girlfriend at the time, she was more extroverted, and so what happened, I pledged in the fraternity. So I made it in. Like me and Carl Ray, it's funny because we ended up having the same car too, a little Toyota, ugliest Toyota you could get, the little turtle yellow one. And so he had one too. And so once I got in the fraternity, we would throw these parties and people would be like, oh, Carl Ray coming, I hear it. So I just have my pistol and I'm going to smoke him if I see him. So God didn't allow it to happen. You know what I mean? And so my college, so this is the first year. This is the first year going into, this is my first year of college. I went through this. And so come my second year, my little brother that I hated had his birthday was coming up. So I went back to Oakland in this car I got. So I drove the car. As I was coming back from his birthday, it broke down. And this was where my life changed again. And so the car broke down. I had my mother tow it it was like in the Pleasanton area, Tracy area. Are you familiar with California?
Yeah.
Okay, so it was like Northern California before you get to the Grapevine. She had it towed to Fresno, and so I was like, man, I only got $500 in my bank account, and it cost $500 to get the new engine put in the car. So I asked my mother, she denied me. I asked Coach Sweeney to give me an advance on my football scholarship. He denied me. So I'm like, man, I'm gonna have to rob somebody. I got this gun. I've been critiquing robberies all my life on the news. So I'm like, I just go rob somebody. So I asked my fraternity, because the fraternity brothers at the time, I didn't know, they was robbing everything in Fresno.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I mentioned to one of them, I think I'm gonna have to rob somebody. I need some money. Yeah. He's like, oh, what? Our fraternity brothers been hitting banks, everything. Go talk to them.
No.
Yeah. So I went and talked to them. They're like, oh yeah, we going on one tomorrow. So tomorrow come, and I get a call that it's canceled, but I'm already hyped up. And so I took my gun, and as I was walking out the door, once again, my fraternity brother roommate, Damon, he was an angel, a good guy in the church, everything. He was walking towards me as I was walking out the house. He put his hand on my shoulder like, man, what you about to do? I'm like, I got to go handle some business. He like, nah, you ain't. Go in the house, man, chill. Because he's seen, I probably looked like a demon, you know what I mean? And he was like, go in the house. I was like, nah, I got to go handle this. So I'm driving around midnight in Fresno, only one out. And I finally come to my senses. I'm like, what I'm doing? That's stupid. I ain't about to rob nobody. As soon as I said that, I looked to the left, a guy at the back. And that ego, I'm one of them guys where if I tell myself to do something, I got to do it or I'm in my own eyes. So I looked over, went and robbed a guy, got in the car. As I'm driving off, the guy come right behind me, get the license plate. The license plate, I thought I was smart. I used to critique everybody else's crimes. So the car I was in, I did it in that car because I didn't think it was in my name. But I forgot. I had went to DMV and tried to get the car in my name.
Okay, so there was paper trail.
Exactly. So I went home right after that, parked your car on the street. You know, the criminals are just dumb. I could be thinking they smart dumb. So I went in my house. It wasn't 10 minutes. The whole Fresno police force was at my door, banging, open up, open up. And I'm so demonic. I went to sleep with the police knocking on the door. The man's wallet in there, 8 debit cards, my gun. I just went to sleep. Like, they ain't got a search warrant. But they could have busted in the door and got me, but they didn't. So the next morning come, I jump out my back window and run to some other fraternity brothers' house, tell them we go to San Jose State that weekend and party with the fraternity, but I'm just out of it. So I get back, call my mom, like I was lying. I was like, yeah, Mom. She already knew. She got that mother's intuition. What you done did? Soon as she picked up the phone. What you done did? I said, they out here trying to say I robbed somebody. She like, you did it. You did it. Bring your home, right? So I get the Greyhound and I go home, and her and my stepfather like, you could be on the run all your life if you want to, or you can deal with it while you're young. And so I went back to Fresno, got arrested as soon as we got in the police station. And
so you turned yourself in.
Yeah, basically. And so I was in county jail, Fresno State. It was all on the news. Fresno State football player catch a robbery, and so it's crazy because as soon as I got in jail, I loved it.
Really? Why?
First day.
What'd you love about it?
So I was already buff.
Okay.
I had this killer aura, immediate respect.
You're like a king in there.
Well, and then everybody seen me on the news, and I was just, it was like everybody thought I had been to YA because I was so buff, and just immediate respect. So my bail was only $2,000. My mother was going like, nah, I'm cool, I'm gonna stay here. So
no way.
Yeah.
You chose
to
stay.
Well, and so I stayed in county jail 9 months. So, and I could have been out. So what happened was, at 6 months in county jail, they offered me a deal, probation. I signed it. Signed the deal right here in front of the judge, attorney's mother came, fraternity brothers there, everybody. Black DA, young black DA chick, looked around as I was signing it. She like, nah. She stood up, Your Honor, I think I made a mistake. I need to check with my supervisor because this deal don't seem right. I'm like, I'm done. Soon as she said that, I'm like, by luck, I'm done. And so they came back after recess. She said, yeah, I made a mistake. I meant to put on the plea deal 5 years CYA.
What? Yeah.
Correctional Youth Authority. And I already heard the stories like, if I go, I'm going to be the shot caller. I'm going to lose all my time. I won't get out till, at that time I was 19. I won't get out till I'm like 25. Because that's the max you could do in CYA at that time. And I'm like, nah, let's go to trial. They like, you sure? If you go to trial, you can get 7. I was like, just 2 more years than what she talking about. Let's go to trial. And so I went to trial and lost. Yeah.
You got 7 years?
Got the max, 7 years.
Wow.
I didn't care. I was institutionalized. I was having fun. I was this big buff guy to everybody.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I've been down 9 months at this time. I only had to do like 2 years max more. Let's do it. So went to prison. Every prison I went to, same thing. I'm a god.
We're getting in fights and all. No one was messing with you. Yeah.
I'm a god. Yeah. So that's why I was institutionalized so fast. I just carried myself like, I was 19, but I was like a 40-year-old man with my mentality and how I carried myself. And just think, you got Fresno, Crips, Bloods, gangs.
Yeah.
I'm from the Bay Area. So usually everybody that's in these prisons I go to don't like Bay Area guys because they carry themselves in a hyphy way, you know, real just energetic and talk a lot, and I was the opposite. And so, so I went to prison. So in the midst of this, I became a Muslim in county jail. So I was running the Muslims.
How did that happen?
I lost my faith with Christianity because of my brother. So before I did the robbery, I was a counselor and coach for Fellowship and Christian Athletes, FCA. And so I was questioning God. Like, how did you allow the devil to come and persuade me to do this stuff?
Yeah.
I lost my faith with Christianity. So even though I lost my faith with Christianity, I was used to, you know, I've been in sports, so I'm looking for camaraderie. And I was like, man, the Muslims, and I got with Al-Islam, had every nationality. And so I was like, that looks strong. You know, they doing what they book say they're supposed to do. Let me check this out. And I don't know what, God just gave this leadership thing to me. Whatever I get in, I got to be the top dog. And so I got into that. I was immediately a Amir. That's the step before you become an imam. And so, you know, in the church, it's like being a deacon before you become the pastor or whatever. So I immediately was a Amir. So I was running the Muslims. So when I get to prison, I went in there immediately, started running grown men. And I'm telling you, you got men in there 50, 60, 70 years old. I'm telling what to do.
Wow.
And so, so I was practicing Islam for 3 years. I was in prisons. I was in Wasco, Delano, Tehachapi, and those are all prisons out here in Southern California. And I'm just this lone guy from the Bay Area that's running in Southern California. Yeah. And so what happened was that 3.5 years in, I'm like, I want to get closer to my family. I want to go to San Quentin. So I go to San Quentin, and it was too much. Let me just put it like that. Too much fun.
Too much fun.
Too much. It was wild.
Like
it
how?
Was
what was fun about it?
So when I got to San Quentin in 1997, when I transferred to San Quentin, when I got there, I had boxes of books. I'm talking about, it looked like I was, you know, like when we move on the streets, I got boxes, food, books, and so I didn't even know about prison gangs in Northern California. So when I get there, I'm talking about as soon as I touch down, they're like, oh, you Kumi 415, ain't you? I'm like, what the hell is that? Nah, I'm Muslim, right? They're like, nah, we think you Kumi. You got all these books, and you got Behold the Pale Horse, and all these, you know, all these conspiracy books and all this stuff. And so they already labeled me as this gang that I didn't know about.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So I got there and I started running the Muslims there. I became a clerk in the Muslim community. At this time, I'm an imam. I'm the top dog. I learned how to read and write Arabic and all this stuff. Yeah. And so I got there, I was running them. But I'm like, these dudes dope fiends. The Muslims there was on heroin, and they used to walk around a Visine bottle with heroin in it, snorting it, and I'm like, these dudes, they not living by the faith. And so I lost my faith again in religion. So the gang that they said I was a part of, I started getting curious. I started watching them. All my friends I grew up with was that gang, Kumi 415. So I started watching them. I started, you know, liking some of the stuff they do. Mostly I didn't. I was like, they need structure. right, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And so they all respected me, and they always used to be in my ear. Like, bro, you need to be Kumi, man. You know, we need some guidance. And so what happened was, a buddy of mine, I typed up, because I had access to the typewriter, I was a clerk. So I typed up this poem, basically. Are you tired of being tired? You know, and what happened, a friend of mine from the streets. Write it? Yeah, I wrote it. Okay. I typed it. And so a friend of mine from the streets, he was Cooney. He made copies of it and posted it all around the prison. So that's a no-no, you know what I mean? You trying to start a riot with that type of stuff. And so it wasn't a few hours after he posted it everywhere, they called it the Goon Squad. They like the prisons, like on the street, like FBI or something. Like they'd take correctional officers to jail. They'd bust them and stuff like that. Called the Goon Squad. So the Goon Squad came to me, said, you wrote this? I said, nah, why you say that? Like, bruh, they turned the paper around. You see this mark on this letter here? That's a fingerprint from every typewriter. Every typewriter got a letter where it got this slash.
Yeah.
This is from your typewriter. Put your hands behind your back. So they took me to the hole to add cell. Yeah. And so I was in the hole with. So this one I encountered death row inmates. I was in there with all the death row inmates. Night Stalker, me and him had a encounter, Richard Ramirez. We was right next to each other.
Wow.
Well.
What was that like?
Oh, I got goosebumps now. Because I never had goosebumps like that in my life.
Were you ever scared?
Nah.
Never scared?
I was buff, strong, played with knives. Like, I was never, you got to think I had the whole gang behind me. Well, not at this time. I had the whole Muslims behind me at this time. So they, Muslims like run into prison almost, besides two other gangs. And so, no, I was never scared because I just knew that, if I had to kill, I would at any moment. So I went to East Block. Yeah, East Block is where all death row is. So I was in there, I was with Tookie, I was in there with Night Stalker, just a host of them. So when I got in there, I'll never forget the first day I heard another language I never heard. So all the black inmates in there were speaking Swahili. So I'm like, damn, I just had goosebumps over my whole body. Because I never experienced nothing like this. Like, what they speaking, right? And then the Mexicans was just speaking Spanish. It was like hardly nobody except the civilians were speaking English. So I'm like, man, I got to learn that. I can't. And at the time, I already spoke Spanish. I knew Spanish because, we always was like, we got to know every language that spoke. So if something happened, we know what's going to happen. So, so I was in East Block, and at this time I was still Muslim. So what happened, I lost my faith with Muslims because they didn't send me a package. Nobody wrote me or got in contact with me when I was in the hole. And I was in there, this was my first time ever starving in my life. This one I learned the feeling of starvation because the prison food at that time was predominantly soy and pork. So I wouldn't eat it. So I just would starve. So I lost like 30 pounds in maybe 10 days or something. And so...
and how long were you in the hole for?
This time, 90 days.
90
so the thing, when you go to the hole, you won't be able to get canteen or food for like 30 days after. So you gotta wait, and they do all these screening tests and all that stuff. And so I had kind of made some friends in there that was on death row, so they would send me a top ramen here and there or whatever, but I didn't want to take nothing from nobody. So I just suffered. It was dramatic. And in the meantime, I was learning Swahili. They sent me some books where I was learning Swahili. But so I used to go out to a yard where it was all Kumi, North Daniels, and BGF. Those were the gangs, and I was just a Muslim put on into this yard because they always said I was Kumi. Anyway, so all my friends in there, whatever, they like, bro, just be Kumi, man.
Yeah.
I'm like, only way I'm gonna be that is if I come in with a high ranking position. So they gave me a high rank position. I became Kumi, and I was like the top. I was a head dude in less than 6 months on San Quentin yard. So you had all, and it's funny because the enemies in that prison was my own Kumi members, because it was always this thing. How is this guy? He only been in it 6 months. How is he the
jealousy?
Right. How he the top dog? I've been in it 10 years.
Yeah.
I ain't never had this position. So my enemies were my own at that point. And I enjoyed it because I just knew how to play the game. You know, and the game was money. You give them some food, they'll die for you. So you know, I played the game.
And you didn't really do drugs or drink or anything.
Nothing. I was anti-militant.
So that gave you the upper hand too, for sure.
Well, I was just hardcore militant.
Did you ever party? Like, was that
no.
ever? Yeah.
Never. And then we'll get to it, but I didn't. I had my first drug. I was about 36, maybe. First EP, I think. But before then, nothing. I was just on crazy. my dope was working out and crazy. I didn't even drink caffeine. No, that's what I was telling you. I never had caffeine. I was 34. So I was just all pure, just crazy.
Anger.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, and control.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, and power.
Power, yeah.
Yeah. And so anyway, make a long story short, we get in a prison riot, San Quentin, in 1999. And they shipped me off. Because, you know, anytime they find out who the shot caller is, whatever, they ship them off.
Okay.
So I went to Solano. Solano was like a resort to me compared to Quentin. It was still violence, but it was ultimately like a resort coming from San Quentin. So I ended up paroling from there in 2001. That went pretty smooth. A few riots, nothing major. And so I paroled from there in 2001. So before I paroled, I said I'm going to get out and be a stripper and a personal trainer.
Are you being serious?
Okay. So I said I'm going to be a stripper and a personal trainer. The correctional officers, everybody was just amazed at my physique. And so they would always say, boy, you need to be a bodybuilder, or, you know, correctional officer, everybody loved me.
Yeah.
I was like a superstar just all my life, you know, to that point. And so I got out, 2001, my mother picked me up. I'll never forget. We go to Costco, and I get about 10 cases of top ramen. I get like 5 cases of tuna. And so I'll never forget the first day I get home, mix some up in a big bowl.
Yeah.
And you know, I'm all buff and militant. I can walk outside and all my old friends come. They laughing like, bro, you ain't gotta eat that top ramen no more. Right? And so I'm like, I don't know what else to eat, you know. So.
And how old were you?
26.
Okay.
I went in at 19, got out at 26.
You're still young.
Yeah. So, let me go back. So, I never thought I was going to have to do 7 years. I thought I was doing half of 7 years. But they changed the law the month I got sentenced in Fresno. So, you had to do 85% of a violent crime.
Okay.
So, for like 3 years of my time, I'm in appeals court trying to appeal my time. So I was supposed to get out in 1999, but because I went to San Quentin and it was just so wild, it was like the streets. It was probably like downtown. Yeah, it was like downtown LA. Wow, every day is something going on, dope deals, people not paying their deals, stabbings. It just popping every day. I tell people, only difference from prison and the streets is you can't have a woman, which you can have a CO or a nurse or something, but you can't have a woman, you can't drive. everything else.
You got it.
Yeah. Well, so.
Yeah, it's a crazy way to look at it.
Yeah. And so yeah, I get out 2001. Bam. That day, ate my top ramen and bowl. Everybody was clowning me. The next day out, I went, got Yellow Pages, found a strip agency, Men of Exotica. I called them up. Y'all looking for strippers? They said, yeah, send us some pictures. Went to the mall, took some pictures, sent them. They said, this Saturday we got the biggest strip extravaganza ever with John B. It's going to be 10,000 women there. Come on, show us what you got. I was like, I didn't dance in my life, nothing. I just was relying on my physique.
Yeah.
The same day, I went and filled out an application for 24-hour, it was fitness now. Mm-hmm. But they all knew me. I got hired the same day. So the second day out, I was a trainer at 24-hour and a stripper. So that weekend, I went and did the John B. event, and I was hooked. And I was the buffest already.
You were gone again. Here you're gone again.
Couldn't nobody fade me in the whole strip game in the Bay Area. And I learned, of course, I got with the older guys and learned the moves and all that stuff. And I got with the best company, like, probably to this day known as a strip agency, Men of Exotica. And they had the most experienced guys, and it was just awesome. It was an awesome experience for me to learn the business, to go right into that. So I was a stripper and a personal trainer. It was going good. About 8 months going good. So what happened was I bought another car incident. So I was out doing good. Had my own spot like my second week out, because the first week I stayed with my mom, but the house was chaotic. My little brother was causing hell. That same guy I never liked, he was causing hell. This guy was, let me just say this, didn't have to do nothing in his life. His mother and father gave him cars, whatever. He was platinum spoon. He didn't have to do nothing, but he was out there selling dope. And so he was causing chaos. He'd come home. I didn't know he was doing E-pills at the time, ecstasy. He would come to the house 3, 4 in the morning, causing ruckus, cussing my mom out. So I was getting into little scuffles with him. And so I had to move out of there. Like my second week out, I got my own place. And so, so I was doing good stripping and personal training, man, loving life. I bought a 5.0 Mustang. So
Was
I was
that your first nice car?
Yeah, actually it was. Because my mother, as soon as I got out, she gave me like this Cavalier. This Chevrolet Cavalier.
I remember that.
So, it was a little 4-door one. Excuse me. So, I was embarrassed of it. I would pull up at strip shows. I would park like a mile away. Because I didn't want the girls to see me pulling up in a bucket. So that lasted about maybe close to a month. And I'm like, Mom, I'm gonna need your credit. I need a car. I can't pull up like this, right? Yeah. So she took me and we went and got a clean Mustang 5.0. I loved it, right? And so what happened was, it wasn't a month later having a car. I was on the freeway. I had dreads then, long dreads. So I just came from getting my hair twisted and on my way to a strip show, and I get in a wreck. I look down at my radio, look back up, traffic stop, I smack into a guy. So I'm like, damn, here we go with this car stuff again. So I'm a extravagant guy. So the car in the shop, and I'm renting a car for like $100 a day. So that's draining my money. Then I didn't know personal training slowed up during December months or whatever, holidays. When trainers, when people go out of town or getting ready for holidays, I didn't know it dipped. So I'm spending money like crazy. So I'm like, damn, my money getting low. What should I do? I'm like, let me tell my brother to give me a half a kilo. I didn't know nothing about dope, never sold it, nothing. I'm like, he out there, hey, go give me a half a kilo, man. Right? And he said, you sure? I'm like, yeah. I'm about to, because I saw in my neighborhood it wasn't no structure. Here go that guy again, this, want to be a leader. And I said, yeah, go. So I did that. He went and got me a half a kilo. So everybody in my neighborhood was already scared of me because all these stories, whatever. So they was real leery of me, and they thought I was going to come and try to just take over. So it wasn't, I don't think I lasted 90 days. It was like the police. You got to think, I was still on parole doing our list. Because I had to do the max 3 years parole. And I'm only not even a year in. So,
did you feel like invincible? Like you weren't going to get caught? Or did you just not care? I mean, which one was it? Because, it was dangerous, right? You just got out. You knew if you got caught, you're going to go back.
So, in my neighborhood, they had a system where, like, none of them was getting caught.
Okay.
It was guys out there, like, 5, 6, 7 years without going to jail.
Oh, wow.
So I'm like, because we kind of tucked. It's in the middle of a neighborhood, and we in front of our apartments. So when dope fiends, crackheads come up, we take them down in the stall, give them the dope. But it's like McDonald's. It's just traffic nonstop, just and so I'm like, man, I can do this, get my money up and get out. I didn't last 90 days. It was like the police. I think the tuberculosis shot was a chip. Because they forced you to get tuberculosis shot in prison. I think it's a chip. Police wasn't even coming over there. All these years, here I come. Police over there.
They're out for you.
Got me.
Yeah.
I wasn't out 10 months from doing 7 years. Yeah. Went back, had to fight a drug case, which no drugs was found on me. They used, I think it was the first time they used this law. They said I was a third player. They said a dope person buying dope walked up to me. I gave a nod for that person to buy it from somebody else. So I was a third player, they called it. And so, I went back to jail, which I didn't care. I was institutionalized. Went back in there, the big dog, Santa Rita jail, buff still, because I worked out 5 days a week at that point. Shot caller for Kumi. Went in there like, I'm home, baby. What's happening? Yeah. I only been out 10 months, and I was just the talk of that prison jail system. Went back to San Quentin. So, in the midst of that, let me backtrack a little bit. In the midst of that, I was out right before I got busted. My little brother caught a murder.
Oh wow!
Right, and so we knew where he was at the time of the murder. We're like, he didn't do it. So the family was shook up. This is their baby. You know what I mean? He in prison. They got an attorney for $50,000, and he was. I know where he was because I dropped him off at the time the person got killed. But they swear to God it was him, and they was sticking to it. And
he got convicted? Or?
No, so when he got caught first, then I went to jail after. About a month after, which I wanted to go to, because I still was his protector. Even though I didn't like him,
right.
Even though I didn't like my mother, I didn't want her to suffer. Her one son already killed himself, and so I went to jail, and I was able to keep tabs on him. And which he was wild out. He was a hothead, getting into fights and the whole lot. Just he held his own. But also my name protected him as well. So I went back. So I had to end up taking a deal for what they give me 16 months. So I would get out on probation. I had to do a year violation on parole. So I did that year violation. and got out and said I'm not selling dope again in Oakland. I got out. I was a stripper again. Did I personal train? No, I didn't personal train. I was stripping and selling crack again. But this time I got out with the plug. So I was getting unlimited amount of kilos.
Okay.
If I said I needed 5, they give me 5, 10, whatever.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh, I'm about to get rich like old boy on Scarface. I'm about to get rich like Scarface. And it just didn't work out for me. But so I was like, I'm not gonna sell dope in Oakland no more, where I grew up. I'm gonna go to San Francisco, because that's where all my gang affiliates are. San Francisco and the Tenderloin. And went out there, big dog. I got all the dope, but I was the most violent in my life because I was giving my gang affiliates drugs, and they was dope heads. They was drug addicts. So I give them something, they go smoke it. And so when I find them a day or two later, I'm like, where my money at?
Yeah.
Oh, bro, you know, and I would do whatever. Whatever, if I had a knife, gun, whatever. If I had no weapon, fist. And I just became so violent. And they warned me of that when I came out there. And, yeah, that was the most violent I've ever been in my life. So I went to jail out there. I caught a case. They gave me the same case as Oakland, like a third player. So I went to San Francisco jail. Ended up, on that I only got a violation. Only did like 90 days, I believe. But after that, long story short, I went back twice. I ended up doing 11 years total.
Wow.
Yeah, ended up doing 11 years total, and finally, my last case was in 2007, a high-speed chase gun. After I got out from doing 16 months of that, met a lady. She had dreams of going to LA. I had got off parole in a year that time. And I'm like, let's go to LA. So before we go to LA, I started bodybuilding.
Okay.
In 2009. Never took a supplement, didn't know about steroids at this point, nothing. And started bodybuilding, entered a show, won. Contra Costa was my first show. No, Orange County Classic was my first show. I won it out of 20 months. I didn't know what I was doing.
And you're all natural at this point?
No. No, I'm not.
Okay.
No. I'm 34. My little Mexican partner told me, if you get on something, you'll blow everybody out. So he started me on some testosterone. I swelled up. I mean, I got crazy in like 90 days. And I entered that show, Orange County Classic, won it. I didn't know what. All I used to do is get on the internet and Google how to dry out or how to be shredded and stuff like that.
You didn't have like a trainer that was coaching you?
So my mentor, rest in peace, Diego Chairs, he knew a little bit, but he didn't know enough. So I would just, I think my first show, I just ate tuna like the last week before the show or something like that. Something weird. And won it. Out of 20, I'm telling you, these dudes been doing these shows 5-10 years, and I come in and beat them.
And they were like, who is this guy?
Yeah. So I'm like, damn, we on to something.
Yeah.
So I went and did the Contra Costa after that in Hayward. Won that. I did the San Jose. Won that. This all in like 2-week spans of each other. I won these. I went and did 5 shows, and I took third on one. The California out here. And so I'm like, we on to something. So I told my girlfriend at the time, we need to move to LA. So we moved to LA in 2010 into Burbank. And the plans was to manage her and to go pro in bodybuilding. So what happened was we started going to red carpet events because she had a publicist. And everybody was worried about me. They didn't even care about her. They're like, who is this guy? The camera people coming up to me and...
You're how big at this point?
I'm about 245 or something, swole up. Yeah, but when I'm a dresser. Mm-hmm. So I'm swole, but I'm dressing nice when I go to these red carpet events. Good personality, you know. I how can I say? I was a good actor. I learned how to, because I'm a natural introvert, antisocial, natural. But it was when the cameras came on and stuff like that, I learned how to turn it on. Mm-hmm. So what happened was my girlfriend at the time, no, she was my wife. Wife at the time, her publicist said, honey, Khalid got it. I'm sorry, but he's the superstar. Right? And so I think that kind of ruined her now I think about it.
Yeah. I was thinking that. I'm like, oh, that'd be a hard one to swallow.
Yeah, that might, now I'm thinking about it, that might have ruined her. So that kind of pumped me up. And what happened was, I never wanted to act or none of that in my life. So at the time of us being out here, I became a personal trainer, a barber. And then one day I was watching TV. I was like, there's no buff real cats on TV. All they had at the time was Michael Clark Duncan, Terry Crews.
Yeah, I'm like, Terry Crews.
Yeah, I'm like, them dudes square. They need a real on TV, right? Yeah. So I Googled how to be an actor. All the steps was there. The next week I was working with Matthew McConaughey.
What?
The next freaking week. And I just blew up in acting.
You're in a league of your own.
It's just God, man.
You know,
It's just God.
So you started acting.
Yeah, so I started acting. I mean, when I got into acting, I got a Old Navy national commercial in like a month. And then it just went crazy, right? I started doing all these commercials and all these little TV shows. And at the time, I was the most paranoid in my life. Because I was thinking like some stuff might come back on me from the criminal days and all that. People was calling me that I hadn't talked to in years. I was paranoid. I wasn't happy at that time that I was blowing up. Because it was scary for me. You know, I still did a lot of stuff I'm not happy about. But God was blessing me. And so I rolled with it. And what happened was, what really blew me up, a guy contacted me about doing a documentary about my life. And I was hesitant. I was like, no, I'm not about to scare these white folks in Hollywood. You know what I mean? Like, bro, I don't want to, I'm good, right? Mm-hmm. So a year go by. Acting had slowed up. Money was getting low, and right? So he hit me up again. And he just had did C.T. Fletcher's documentary. And he like, man, I can do you a documentary. I guarantee it'd be good. And I was like, I prayed on it. And I'm like, forget it. Let's do it. Man, we did that documentary. My life, that's when my life changed for real. It was at like 3 million views in like a day and a half. And
that was on YouTube?
Yeah, on YouTube.
3 million views in a day and a half. And that was back when?
That was 2014, I want to say.
Okay.
Yeah, 2014. And so at that moment, I was like, we got to stay on this. And the guy, he's brilliant. And we just started posting videos. And we was posting on his channel, and my channel was started. And my channel, because I had videos from before I moved to LA. Mm-hmm. And just blew up. And we just stayed on top of it. So what happened, what made me write that book, I did a national commercial. It was Old Navy, matter of fact. Somebody left on YouTube a comment, this guy did G for Pete. You know what I mean?
What does that mean?
That's gay for pay.
Okay.
Like how bodybuilders do whatever. And it'd be considered OnlyFans today. Right. He did G for P, you know what I mean? Man. So this was really had me scared about Hollywood.
Yeah.
So they saw that comment on YouTube. They called my agent and said if he did any of this nature with this guy saying, we go sue him and we go blackball him from Hollywood.
Wow.
Yeah, and so they dived into it, seeing I just had some pictures up or whatever, touching myself or whatever.
Yeah.
Right? But if I had did it, they would have sued me for millions. because Old Navy is, child, kid friendly, family oriented. So I got scared, man. So I'm like, I better write a book about myself so nobody else can lie about me or just say anything. And so, I wrote my book because of that.
I love that. And it's just full disclosure of the person that you were.
But to this day, people still try to make up stuff. And even though I got the book, people
are just like that. People are always going to talk.
Oh, yeah.
That jealousy, people in their ego and pride. And they always want to be saying something if you're doing better than them. The people that are doing better than you are, they're not talking.
Oh, you ain't got time.
You know what I mean? It's just those haters out there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so that's where we at now. So, what happened was I ended up, everything was going good. My ex-wife, she had got hooked on Vicodin. Some doctor had told her she might have fibromyalgia or whatever. So she got hooked on Vicodin. So I kept warning her, bro, I ain't with no dope head. You know what I mean? We can't do that. She just kept going down the rabbit hole. Couldn't get off of them. And I was like, enough is enough. It's over. And so
you didn't have kids with her?
No, thank God.
Yeah.
Well, because I was on all that juice at the time. I didn't have no sperm.
Okay.
Thank God, though. My life would have been ruined right now. Because she just a nut. But, so I was like, man, I'm about to get a divorce. I'm going to move to Vegas and get my money back right and get my credit up. And I didn't have nobody in Vegas but my old business partner. And so I was like, I'll move out there for my supplement company. And so I moved to Vegas, which I hated. In the meantime, I met my now wife at an expo, at a fitness expo. So I moved to Vegas by myself and was filming myself, my own YouTube videos. I was filming myself and streaming. This when I was gaming every day, like 12 hours a day. So the hustle was good. Only the problem I had at that time was a divorce, because I was having to come back and forth to LA, and ex-wife, she was just making everything difficult. We didn't have no family, no properties together, no kids. Should have been a breeze.
Yeah.
But she was, an evil woman, and trying to just make me suffer.
Yeah.
So in the meantime, me and my now wife, we was courting, and business was going good for me. Everything was coming back into play, and my wife now moved out with me to Vegas from the Bay Area.
Nice.
And we was like, after 2 years in, I think it was 2 years in, maybe 3. We were like, let's try to have some kids. And so we went to a clinic to see my sperm count. She wasn't getting pregnant, so we like, something wrong.
Yeah.
So we go, and I was at 0 sperm. So this was just, this crushed me, because I supposed to have like 10 kids. It was like any woman I ejaculated in, I got them pregnant. And then all of a sudden, I have no sperm because of this bodybuilding and stuff, taking all this shit. And so thank God we went to this clinic, and she was like, you got to get off everything. And it was scary for me, because I was kind of at the peak of my fitness YouTube thing. And so it was scary. Like, damn, how am I going to do this? Because these people, you lose weight, they own you. Yeah. And, you off your cycle, and it was just, this is my image.
And isn't it like a massive emotional
coming
off?
Well, yeah.
And you've been on for years.
At this point, 16, about 4 years. But I would get off and on. So about 5 years. Since 2009, this was about 6 years. Yeah, about 6 years. So I'm like, damn, here we go, let's do it. I'm gonna try it. I had to get off. My sperm didn't come back for like 2 years.
Wow.
So I got off, and just monthly I would lose size, and everybody on the internet, you know, that was a thing with me at that point. They would do videos, Kylie Muscle lost his size, and you know.
And how would that feel?
I was able to. I was still big. Mm-hmm. I was like 220. Right now I'm 190. So I was still big, but listening to the outside, I didn't feel big. But I look at those pictures like I was too damn big still.
Yeah.
I was still 220, and so I just stopped basically reading comments. That was the only way to combat it, and I was just focused on having kids because now my duty was to get my sperm back. So I didn't even care about the outside chatter too much. I was like, I felt less of a man not having no sperm count.
Yeah.
And I started kind of hating bodybuilding at that time. And so got my sperm back up to like 100,000. And all this 2 years, I was like, I can't. Hopefully my sperm come back so I can get back on juice.
Right.
Right? It's like an addict. And so my sperm got up to 100,000, and they pulled it. And then we was able to get her pregnant.
Awesome.
Well.
Yeah.
And so with my twins, and
you have, how old are they?
They 3 now.
Boy and girl.
Adorable. Well, adorable. They getting better.
I watched that video that you posted with all the ice creams.
Oh,
By the way, those are all like my favorite. Those are the best. All those ice creams. I was like, that's the stuff that I get.
Wow.
But that video was adorable.
Thank you. Yeah, it's the hardest thing I ever did in my life. Prison and shootouts, stabbing, raising these kids, the hardest. Yeah.
What have your kids taught you the most about yourself?
Patience. Have patience. Which I always been a patient guy because I was a captain, football, wrestling, track, fraternity, Muslims, ran the gang. And all these guys was like babies to me. Come crying about their problems. And so I know how to have, and I'm a good listener. I listen more than I talk. So, so patience. And we just getting to that age where I was just telling Miles on the drive here, I'm going to have to start talking more. You know what I mean? With my kids and explaining and because, you know, like when I get home for me always usually be a place where I can go and relax. But now it's the opposite.
It's chaos.
Yeah.
A good chaos.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's the hardest thing I did in my life. But so I had my kids on purpose because I knew I was getting older. My finances were in the position where I felt I can raise my kids comfortably. And so I was like, this is the right time, you know what I mean? And so we did IVF. She gave birth to them on Christmas Day. And so I was in Vegas. We was in Vegas 4 years. So in what was that? Right when the pandemic was going on. What's this, 23? So end of 2019, 2020, we moved back to LA. Because that was my whole goal. I just wanted to stay in Vegas maybe a year or two and move back to LA. But it took 4 years. So we came back, moved to Santa Clarita, which I don't know why. That's hot just like Vegas.
Yeah, it's hot there.
Yeah, I didn't know. They lied when we looked up the weather. So
they lied?
Yeah, when I looked up the weather on Google before we moved there, they're like, oh, it only get 90 degrees. Or I'm like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Shit, Vegas 120, right? Get out there, it's the same thing.
It's hot, yeah.
And the air, so for me, I want to live somewhere where the air quality good. Like even now, I need to move closer to here. Right now, I'm in the Irvine area.
Yeah.
I need to get closer to the water. Yeah, where that air clear. But yeah, so we moved to Santa Clarita, and during the pandemic, and at the time, I didn't have a videographer or nothing like that.
Okay.
And so I'm like, man, Miles, man, he was the best I ever dealt with. So I'm like, I saw where some YouTubers were giving people percentages of their channel. You know what I mean? And I was like, man, I'm going to have to step it up. I'm going to have to give somebody a percentage. So not just pay them per video or whatever. So they, you know, have incentive as well. So I called up Miles. I'm like, man, what you think about us doing some stuff together? He was like, yeah. He was open at the time, so flew him out. We shot a few videos, and we hadn't discussed him moving out here permanently at that time. So it was just like, Guy was just like, you need this dude. Y'all need to be together permanently. So I called him up like, bro, what you think about taking this percentage of my social media and we be business partners? You move out here. He said he would. And my money was low at the time because I just moved from Vegas to LA. That was like $25,000, and I only had about maybe $15,000 left to my name. And he like, yeah, I'm with it. So I'm like, dang, how I'm gonna pay him and got all these expenses. And he moved out here, and we vowed we was gonna do a video a day on YouTube.
Okay, so that's how it started with you guys.
Yeah. And we was gonna post like 4 videos a day on Facebook. And it just
took off.
Well, and I was doing stuff outside of the box for me. Pranks and different stuff.
I mean, how did you come up with that stuff? Like, how did
you
have these characters? Like, you've got Jamaica Muscles, Swole Pimpin', right? And I'm like looking up these characters. So
I was inspired by Martin Lawrence years ago with some of those characters. But what happened was, before Miles moved out, I had about maybe 100 videos that I wanted to do. So we would just check them off.
Checking them off,
And we was in the game, and it was just fun, man. We was getting in a lot of trouble.
Because you were doing the whole, like, throwing people's plates or kicking them and all that, too. And
we was getting in, it was, it was fun, but for me, scary at the same time. Because I'm an ultimate hothead. Like, I give people respect, but if I see disrespect, I go there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm a nice guy, but, and Miles will tell you, he been with me probably the most situations I ever got in. Because I used to be a loner. I didn't want to have people around me because I was just so violent. Like, I might shoot or so I didn't want witnesses and stuff like that. But he been around me a lot of the most incidents out of anybody in my life, probably. Well, yeah, of course. More, but
do you think becoming a dad helped you find your peace and your calm?
No, I'm more. I'm more amped up.
You're more amped up now,
especially when I go out with my kids.
No, I mean like with the anger.
Oh no! So I never had anger issues. My thing was always respect.
Respect. Okay.
Right. Like, I'm, tell a guy hi, and I'm not one of those just walk around.
Yeah.
Yeah. What? But when somebody do that to me, oh, it's on. And so that comes from my mother incident. That I never let nobody pull a pistol on me first. But that went with everything in my life. Like, if somebody brought violence to me, and if I reciprocate, God go forgive me in my eyes. So that's how I walk through my life. Like, I'm nice to everybody, but if I see something and, hey, if I mind my business and you bring something to me,
then it's on.
Yeah, I'm going to handle it. I'm going to nip it in the bud. I don't believe in leaving witnesses and I'm real, like, I come from my area where I grew up. We the opposite of what these gangsters are today. Sagging, tats on your face, all that. We believed in looking like a college student. Square.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? Sneaky, yes sir. Or you come up, I'll bust you up, yes sir. As soon as you walk off, blow the back of your head off.
Right.
That's just the era I come from.
Those are the scary ones.
Yeah, but that's, and so, and that's still me. I just vow to never lose it, because all my friends that got relaxed and calm, something bad, those be my friends that got killed. Like, they was stone cold killers, then they got lax and started having fun in life, and something happened to them. But all of them because they didn't lead the environment. I was just fortunate and wise enough to leave the environment.
Right.
Because I was still caught up in it before. When I moved to LA in 2010, I was still running and gunning and shipping ecstasy and still in it. So, so now my life is evolved around the kids, and I got to make sure I stay in shape and don't lose that kind of street mentality, especially what's going on now.
Yeah.
You know, I just seen that movie. What is it? With Mel Gibson. That Mel Gibson,
The Sound of Freedom.
Yeah, I just seen that, so it's like you gotta be there for your kids.
Yeah. Do you wake up motivated
Oh
every
yeah.
day?
So for me, you know, I had a heart attack in November 2021.
Okay. And a lot of people ask this question. I've heard people whisper about this, so I'm just going to ask you, do it have anything to do with steroids? Heart attack? Okay.
I had to say I contributed to Top Ramen, prison food.
Really?
Hell yeah.
'Cause you're
11 years of
eating.
the worst, probably plastic.
Yeah.
Putting plastic in my system, of course it's go clog up an artery. I'm lucky it just was one artery. You know, so yeah, it was all the bad food. I don't even know steroids. I had like, in the last 2 years, 8 friends die of heart attacks. Never touched a steroid in their life.
Really?
8 friends, all in their early 40s. It's the food. And
It's the food.
so, and then what I tell people, so my era, being born in the 70s and growing up in the 80s, the microwave hit.
Yeah.
Right then, microwaves back then was pure radiation.
Oh, yeah.
This when high fructose corn syrup got involved, all these fake sugars, Splenda, Diet Cokes.
Yeah.
My era is getting hit the worst.
Yeah.
Because we didn't know. It
I'm
was
in
like,
the tail end of that era, so yeah,
Oh,
I
okay.
understand totally.
yeah.
Uh-huh.
So we got hit the worst with all this experimental stuff. And it's showing now. I lost 2 friends in one day 2 weeks ago.
Wow.
Heart attacks. Well, just got the big gut and overweight, eat fast food every day. This is food, man. So yeah, when I had the heart attack, before I had the heart attack, I've been motivated all my life to get rich. That's my ultimate goal, to get wealthy. So when the heart attack happened, now I don't like to go to sleep because I had so many friends that go to sleep and die.
Oh my God.
Well, so it's for me, when I wake up, I'm like, woo,
Ready to
where
go.
y'all at, kids?
I got another day.
Well,
Yeah.
so
You're grateful.
Man,
Yeah.
it's so scary now, and that's, you know, everybody out there watching, man, take care of your health. People say it as a cliche. Health is wealth. I heard that all my life, but until you have a health scare, you don't know. It's nothing. It's wild. It's scary.
You appreciate things a little more.
A whole lot more.
To say the least,
So
yeah.
for me, every second, I'm like excited.
Yeah.
Man, it's so scary. I don't know what else to say, how scary it is. But health is wealth, man. And everybody, what we see is number one killer is heart disease
Yeah.
in the country.
Yeah,
It's
we're still
food.
all eating
It's food.
like crap every day,
Yeah.
pretty much.
Yeah.
What would be your number one health tip to people out there?
Veggies, fruits, fish. Anything else is unhealthy as a mother. I don't care. You know, even with this, I be looking on the back and I always be like, damn, they had to mess it up by adding something in or, you know what I mean? So that's what I'm on now. I just eat once a day, some salmon
That
and
was my
spinach.
next question.
Yeah.
Okay, so once a day. What
salmon,
is that at?
spinach. That's at about 7 p.m.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what is it that you eat?
Spinach and salmon. And so if I do eat come 3 or 4, it's some fruit.
And you don't get hungry?
So what happened to me when I started acting, I would be on sets and I wanted to have this. Acting was the most pressure out of bodybuilding, anything in life. I had an Audi Naval. Never tripped on it until I started acting and got it repaired. Because you're in front of all these people and you know.
Yeah.
So when I started acting, I'd be on sets. I'm like, I want to look shredded and big. I starved myself. And I learned, the starving thing when I was in prison, I told you. And I would look phenomenal. So what happened with the heart attack thing was now I got to worry about getting clogged up again. Mm-hmm. So I'm gonna do whatever I can to live as long as I can for my kids.
Yeah.
So I believe, well, I know it's a fact. Less is better. Mm-hmm. I look the best when I eat once a day. I feel the best. And I never thought this would be so. What happened, my business partner, friend, Big Boy, he had told me a while back that he didn't eat till about 5-6 p.m. And I thought he was crazy. But he was still big,
huge.
strong.
I see pictures of that guy.
Yeah.
How could you only eat once a day?
Yeah, at the time he was doing that to drop weight, and he was looking phenomenal. And I was like, bro, hell no. So when I had my heart attack, I became a hater of food. I'm like, it's a food that clogged it up.
Yeah.
And so I went on that diet, and I was still looking phenomenal and had energy, and I'm like, this is a secret to life. Mm-hmm. Only the Japanese knew. The Japanese? Yeah.
Because they live way longer.
Yeah.
Yeah, with their diet.
And so that's my diet.
Okay.
I'm on the Japanese diet, basically.
Yeah.
And anytime, so I know people, they might see my Crackies cookies.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about these Crackies cookies. I'm going to open this up.
Yeah, and so me and my business partner here, Miles, started it. And I'm like, when I do want to eat something, I have a sweet tooth, let's just make our own.
Well, that's smart. So who came up with the recipe?
He did.
Okay.
Yeah. It's another story. Yeah, you can just twist it.
Where is it? Oh, there's one on the back.
You can just twist it.
Can I?
Uh-huh.
I got it.
Yeah, so.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, we started this, and
I love cookies. So I eat healthy, but I love my sweets.
Well, that's
but I think anything in moderation.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Right? Like,
yeah.
These cookies are heavy.
Yeah.
These are legit. Oh my goodness, they're so soft too.
Oh, man. So I've never had nothing like them in my life. And I'm not just saying that.
I'm going to be eating.
Because if they was crappy, I would say we need to reformulate this recipe.
Yeah. They're good.
Best dessert in my life I ever had. Mm. Besides, my only other one was my mother's sweet potato pie when I was a kid.
Ooh, yeah.
But, man, it's crazy. And we didn't name it purposely because they like crack. We were just throwing names out.
Yeah. And
but it's like crack.
It's catchy.
It's crack.
And then you got this gum.
Yeah. Work gum.
All right. Yeah.
And I didn't bring you the hot sauce. I should have brought you the hot sauce.
Oh, yeah. I'll have to get that too.
And then I had a supplement company.
Uh-huh.
So we got multiple things going on because ultimately I want to be done with social media where I feel like it's a job. It get to a point with social media. I've been on there 15 years on YouTube.
That's a long time.
Yeah. And it's still fun to me when I do skits and different odd stuff. But I just don't want, when you think about it, it's like you're still a slave in a way. When you depend on this monthly check from YouTube, Facebook, and it just, your life is in their hands at that point. Mm-hmm. Because and like I say, with me, fortunately, they never let me hit like I see some people hit, and I'm grateful for that.
Yeah.
Because it just shows me. And it gives me the motivation to start a company like Crackies.
Right.
Start the gum, the hot sauce, have other streams of revenue. And, so now our focus is getting this business, open a store, and get it cracking.
I'm sure just like everything else you do is going to be successful.
Oh, it got to be. I won't stop till it is.
And I believe you.
Yeah.
What would you say to somebody new out there that's just getting started on social media? They're having a hard time. They're feeling defeated. They need that little pep talk. What would you say to them?
Don't give up. I'm going to give you an example. I hadn't had a viral video on YouTube been quite some time. Maybe since the last old man skit a year ago. So my reels and shorts be popping off. But an actual video on YouTube hadn't popped off in a while. And me and Miles, we get frustrated, you know what I mean? And all of a sudden, the other day, we posted a video about mental health. Boom! We ain't seen a video go that viral in maybe a year. You know, so it's, and we looked at it, we talked, we like, this is just an example of never give up.
Yeah.
You know, but you have content right now, it gotta be viral.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It gotta be catchy. Gotta be like this, like how you started, professional. The camera gotta be good. You can't just come any old way nowadays.
Yeah.
There's just too many, you know, high caliber people on there.
Right.
You gotta try to edit like this guy, which he a fucking wizard. You know.
Yeah.
Like it's just a lot to. It's a lot.
And I think it works for me. You know, I'm in recovery, and so it's like I got to be true to myself, you know, and be authentic. And when I do that and I put myself out there, it might be scary, but people enjoy that, and it's relatable to people like that. Like how you're saying you post something about mental health, right? And people are like, oh wow, like that actually resonates with me, or you pull people's heartstrings, things like that. And I've always had that mentality that if you're doing it for the right reasons, it's gonna work out.
Yeah.
Blow up one way or another. You just
That's
gotta
right.
stick with it and don't give up.
Yeah. And then I just want to say this. So I got on the internet, it was just for fun.
Okay.
So people, this is the problem a lot of people have. They get in it, they want to get rich. Or they want to make a lot of money because they heard this guy, that guy made a lot of money. That's the advantage I had. I got in there when it wasn't no money. So I was just on the internet acting a fool for free.
Yeah.
And I didn't expect nobody.
Yeah.
So when you come in it and you're expecting money and it don't happen, that's when people get frustrated and quit.
That's a really good point.
Yeah.
It's very true, because that is the case most of the time. Oh, I don't do this because I got to get rich off of it.
Yeah.
But if you do it because it's purposeful and you're enjoying doing it.
And let me say this. It's like the lottery. It's if a network distributed. That's what. So I didn't realize that until last year, maybe the year before. Like I thought, I took everything personal. Oh, my fans not watching it. They not seeing. It's not getting distributed. You know how I got famous? YouTube posted that documentary on their front page. I didn't tell them to do that. I didn't ask them. I didn't pay them to do it. They did that. So people, you know, they getting their feelings and all that. It's the social media platform that distribute whatever video it is. I did some crappy videos and they viral. I'm like, you know, I got one on there, me and Gold's Gym bench pressing some 200. I edited it and it's crappy. One of the most viewed videos. Like it just is it distributed if they distribute it. And so that's where it comes to just me, I just always threw stuff out there. It's like a musician just throwing songs out there. I just throw content out there.
Just keep doing it.
And whatever hits, hit.
Yeah,
Because we never know what's going to be viral. I just did a funny old man. And on YouTube, they limited monetized it one time. I took it down. I'm like, let's post it again. Let's re-edit it. They didn't let it get 5,000 views the next time. Took it down. Put it back up right now. I don't even know if it got 30,000 views. But this is a type video that always go viral. Usually. But this time it didn't.
Yeah.
You know, on YouTube. But Facebook it did. But YouTube it didn't go viral. So it's just a luck of the draw.
Right,
Gotta keep at it. And
just
that video costs. I gotta pay makeup artists. I gotta sit and get makeup 4 hours.
4 hours. I saw you saying that. That's
I gotta
crazy.
pay all videographers to set. Like it's a lot to it.
Yeah.
And I didn't even. I might have broke even. I don't know if I even broke even. Well.
Yeah. Couple of fun questions before we wrap up.
Let's do it.
I've been stalking you a little on social media. So you really like your cars? Just a little. Maybe just a little.
It's for content.
Okay. But they're
really
yours,
don't.
right? Like they're your
Oh yeah, they're mine. But it's So I'm the type guy where I can have my wife with a badass car and me with a badass car. You see, I'm driving a GT63 today. As long as I got something nice like that, I'm cool. I don't need all these other, you see the Mustangs and the Hellcats.
I got my Hellcat outside.
Oh, that was yours,
yeah,
the black one.
Yeah,
oh, that's nice. I seen that. Yeah. So I don't need all those cars. I believe less is better.
Okay.
When it comes to that, especially experiencing it and seeing all the insurances and the tickets and you know what I mean? Yeah.
I was going to ask you what your favorite car is.
My favorite is McLaren.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna get one too. No, I had a 570, but I'm gonna get a 720. I'm gonna get a Urus. I'm gonna let people know now. This is gonna be my lineup: the GT63, a Urus, and the McLaren.
My son's over there. He's like, he loves cars.
Oh yeah, oh, yeah. Then you love them till you get them and see the headache they are.
Yeah. So you have a lot of tickets. You like to go fast.
So what happened when we got our Hellcats? We was getting tickets back to back.
Because the heat score too. I mean, it's so loud.
Speeding tickets.
And you got yours all wrapped, all crazy.
Oh,
yeah.
it was like
flashy.
It was some of the. Bro, I used to sell dope and carry Uzis around. I wouldn't be as paranoid as driving the Hellcats and all that. We were just getting tickets, so we had to get attorneys, and fortunately, they beat them all.
Oh wow!
And we gave all those cars up.
Okay.
We would just.
You just did a giveaway, right? You gave away a Hellcat.
Yeah, I gave away. So I go tomorrow to actually give it away to the guy.
Okay.
Nice. To Vegas. Then after that, I'm doing the GT500.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Wow.
And you like your jewelry. I've noticed that. I've seen some videos. Do. So what's your favorite piece of jewelry?
It was actually a chain I had with the lion on it. And my rollie. I was just telling my wife yesterday, I'm going to have to get some jewelry again. But I must say, it was the worst feeling. Especially in L.A.
That someone was going to...
Yeah. So we stayed. He got a CCW because of it.
Yeah.
It was the worst feeling. Mm-hmm. It's feel good, but I was so paranoid with that jewelry on. It's ridiculous. Me and him.
Because that's like a thing now.
Yeah.
They're just doing that. They're like, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
What else did I want to ask you? I wanted to make sure I asked you a couple of these things. What were the stereotypes that you got when you were bodybuilding?
I wasn't liked. And it's wild because my worst experiences were in gyms in LA. Only one gym I've been to in my life that was home for me, and that was Diego's Parole in Oakland. Rest in peace, Diego. I wasn't liked because I dressed nice, working out. I talked like the camera. When the camera came on, I was giving a show at whatever gym I went to, and I wasn't liked. Still not by a lot. Like I got kicked out of Gold's Venice.
Really?
Kicked out of LA Fitness. Every gym we've been to, I got kicked out.
You mean like filming? Because okay.
Wow.
Really, even Gold's Venice, huh?
To this day, it's one of the most viral videos ever.
Yeah. Getting kicked out?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't think I've seen that.
Wow.
I'll have to watch it.
And so, the stereotype with me is he cocky, arrogant, loud, and it was all for just a show. If the camera not on me, I don't even talk during the workout or nothing. I'm just that type of guy that when the camera came on, I just turn on. And I was like that from a kid. So even as a kid, I was like I am now. But my mother, I used to get suspended so much and all that from being a class clown. She had told me if I shut my mouth, I won't get in so much trouble. And I took that to heart and did it, and that's when that power thing came in. And I said, oh, people fear, when you quiet. And I just ran with that. But like I said, once I got back to LA and got into acting, I'm like, people like people that have fun and talk.
Yeah.
So yeah.
All right, last question I have here is, what do you want to be remembered for the most in the public eye and as a father?
So in the public eye, I want to be known the most as being a philanthropist. So that's why I'm about to start this non-profit and give back. I want to give back to as many people as I can. And that was my process with starting to do raffles, car giveaways. And it just feels so good to be able to give back, especially with all the bad stuff I did in my life. I'm like, I got to give good karma, give myself good karma as much as I can. So yeah, I just want to be remembered as a philanthropist. And for my kids, of course, a good dad that taught them right from wrong. So that's my whole objective in life now.
I love it.
Wow.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
You're
this
amazing.
Fun.
Here we go. First one down.
Yeah. Oh, you go. Everybody else gonna be a breeze from here.
Yep. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you.
All right.
All right.
Bye.
Click here to watch another awesome video from Cali Muscle. And if you support the channel, hit the subscribe button.